Hey guys, Biracial Tiffany here. I have been asked by Sable Verity to do an interview for her blog. Thank you, Sable Verity, for asking me to do this, and your website is really cool, so people should check it out. So the first question is, what is my name? And my name is Tiffany Diane Jones. I am 31. And I was born in Detroit, Michigan, and now I live in New York City. What was my childhood like? It was good, and it was hard, and it was fun, and it was not fun sometimes. Anyway, my childhood was good. Before my parents got divorced, you know, when I think back on those times, they separated when I was 5, so it was a short-lived amount of time, and it also was sort of the time before I went to school, so it's that's the time where the concept of black and white and what I was and what they were and how all those things everyone would have you believe don't go together. I didn't have a concept of it. And I just remember being funny and silly and happy and feeling like I was very special. And not because I was biracial, because I didn't get what that was, but maybe it was because I was biracial, because people were just like, oh, you're so cute. You know, that's just what I got all the time. And I was very verbal and I don't know. Anyway, but then I went to school, and my parents separated, and everything became black or white, and it was difficult often, but I always had a lot of good friends. Most of them were white, and I will not apologize for that, although for many years I felt like I should. I went to predominantly white schools. My choice was to have white friends or to have no friends. Being biracial, I didn't see where that should have mattered at all anyway. So it's funny that I want to say I went to all white schools and yet I had a diverse upbringing, but I traveled a lot, and of course I had my black family, which is significantly smaller than my white family, and my black grandmother died when I was in high school, and that sort of, you know, I hear a lot that sort of when the matriarch or the patriarch, depending on your situation, of a family dies kind of early, like we don't get together for Christmas like we used to, and all those kinds of things. So I don't know what that's relevant to, but I thought it was worth mentioning. So I guess that has had an impact on me because it came up right now. When did you become aware of color, yours, your mother's, your father's, and the rest of the world? Well, I'm trying to think if it was kindergarten, but I don't think it was. I'm gonna go more with first grade. I remember I was all, you know, I'm saying that I didn't know anything about race before then, but my mom certainly told me that we had Cherokee ancestry, and that I'm gonna say third great-grandfather was a Cherokee shaman, and it was something that I was always really into. That idea. I don't know, I was really fascinated by that. So this school that I went to, Grosse Pointe Academy, you had to take a test to get in. And I remember on the day that I went to take the test, there was this girl, I think her name was Shayna, something like that. And then on the first day of school, you know, she was there too, so we both passed the test, and she was sort of like my friend ish that I had met for a few minutes. You know, we're 5 years old. I was anyway. So anyway, Shayna was Indian, from India. Her parents might have actually been from India, but anyway, she was not from India, but she was Indian. And at this point, I certainly didn't have a concept of the difference between the types of Indian, like dots versus feathers. I can't believe I just said that. But anyway, I was like, oh my gosh, I'm Indian too. And she was like, no, you're black. I'm not Indian like you. and I wasn't aware enough. You know, this was one of the first experiences. Like, I remember that. I was 5 years old, now I'm 31. So I remember it, and it definitely was a clue to what was about to sort of happen to me racially, that is going to be one dropped, and even the fact that I was Cherokee shouldn't be brought up, I guess, because there was no room for me to be anything but black, and this girl certainly didn't want to be that. So that was a lesson of sorts. And at 5, it's not the kind of thing you're going to stay mad at someone for. It was just like, oh, okay, I think. But that was a big one for me. And I don't know what the circumstance was that my mom sort of one-dropped me and told me that it didn't matter, that my dad was white, that really had nothing to do with me. But I certainly think that must have been a sort of definitive moment as well. But my memory of the details of that is hazy. So, oh, one other time I went to the store with my dad, and it was around the same, like, 4 or 5 years old time, and maybe I was 3. I don't know. I'm going to go with 3 to 5. We went to the store. My dad was wearing khaki pants. I was, just walking around not paying attention, and I ended up walking out of the store following these khaki pants on a white man. And then I walked with this guy like a couple feet out the door, and I looked up and I was like, oh my God, you're not my dad. And I remember having the thought, or maybe in retelling of the story somewhere, someone said, either someone said or I had the thought that man must have been like, why is this little black kid following me around? But also I was, freaked out and was like, I almost got myself kidnapped. I always had like a big fear of being kidnapped. Well, I think my mom had a big fear of me being kidnapped, and she passed it on to me. So, anyway. Ooh. As you grew up, what were some of the differences that you noticed about yourself as mixed and other black people who had 2 black parents? This one is kind of hard for me because in the environment in which I went to school and socialized with children, there weren't many black kids. So I had my family, my cousins, I guess. I would say the difference between me and my black cousins is that I went to predominantly white private schools and they didn't. So I talked white, and sometimes they made fun of me saying that I couldn't dance. But, I actually always remember being a while into my experience of being mixed and neither black or white. I remember the economic thing, because I went to not only predominantly white schools, but wealthy schools. Like, the school was wealthy, and the people that went there generally were. So I remember thinking that when I went to people's mansions and big homes, where you think, oh, these people must be so much happier, and this counts a lot for something. I don't even know how better to say it. But then when I would go to black people's homes, some of which were as nice, and some which weren't, people seem to have the same things, nobody, it's like the black people have Nintendo, everybody over here is having fun. In fact, they might seem to be having a little more fun in the black household than in the rich white household. So I remember thinking that these differences aren't really differences in the ways that matter the most, meaning love and happiness and joy in the home versus the size of your home or the kind of paint on your walls or, whatever. I don't know. That's my answer to the question. I somehow am judging that as not being a good answer, but That's it.